Hey guys, this is the Disney Dude, and today I am going to be showing you the Disney bracket and how I think it goes for me. Now, I am sitting outside right now because I can't find any quiet inside. So, if you get any ambient sounds, great. If you like them, great. If you don't like them, not great. So, let's get to it because this is going to be quite a long video. Now this has surfaced a lot lately on the internet, and a lot of people have done it. I have done it already because, well, there's no because, but I just wanted to tell you guys how it plays out for me, because I really like Disney and Pixar, and I like to see how their movies add up against each other. So here we go. Here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the Disney animation side first, and then I'm going to do the Pixar side. So, brace yourselves, it's going to be a very long video. So, we have The Lion King and Tarzan. I love Tarzan. I've seen it like once or twice. I watched it a lot when I was a kid, but I don't know how many specific times I've seen it. It was a good movie, but The Lion King is just great. It's 10 out of 10. It's one of the best movies Disney has ever made. And it even spawned a Broadway musical, which is, it hits very home for me because I'm a kind of a theater geek. So, I really like that. And my cousin, Nathan Lane, he is actually in The Lion King. He plays Timon. And I think that, well, it's just a really good movie, overall. And so next, we have The Princess and the Frog versus Lilo and Stitch. The Princess and the Frog was a great movie. It was, Disney did a very good job. It's one of the, it's one of my favorite Disney princess movies, if I had to take it. If I had to, say what my favorite Disney princess movie it would probably be The Princess and the Frog. Now that is a very good movie. The saddest part, spoilers by the way, the saddest part is when Ray dies, and it's just so sad. I was in the movie theater with my family, and it was just, I wanted to cry. It was just so sad. But Lilo and Stitch really takes the cake here because I grew up watching Lilo and Stitch on Disney Channel, and whenever and wherever it was on, Lilo and Stitch was a good movie. I love Stitch. He's great. But yeah, it just really hits home for me with Lilo and Stitch because I grew up watching that almost every day. So then, after that, we come up with Tangled and Big Hero 6. Now, these are two very recent movies, so it's kind of hard to pit them together. Or, it's not hard, but, like, I'm gonna pit them together, but, it's kind of easy. So, Tangled, another great, Disney princess movie. It's probably behind The Princess and the Frog. Mostly the older Disney princess movies, I don't like very much. But that was a good movie. And Big Hero 6, I am personally getting into, so for a while, I haven't really been into superheroes and that kind of stuff. So when Big Hero 6 came out, it kind of introduced me to that kind of genre of superheroes, because, I had never, like, stepped a foot into the superhero realm. So that really brought me into it, and now I'm trying to watch as many superhero movies as I can. Then, up next we have Frozen and Moana. Now, if you've been on my channel for a while, you will understand, if you'd know that I made a video about why I hate Frozen, I'm going to leave a link to that video in the description if you haven't seen it yet. But if you haven't seen that video yet, then go watch it, and then it's easy to say that Moana takes the cake here, because watch the video. It's a good video. Not really. But up next we have Aladdin versus Hercules. Aladdin was a really great movie. It's pretty much behind The Lion King. If you put like movies from the Disney Renaissance, The Lion King would be first and Aladdin would be second. If you don't know what the Disney Renaissance is, I'll probably make a video on it later, but it pretty much saved Disney from going bankrupt, which would be really bad. And Hercules, I only saw it like once or twice, and I didn't think it was a very good movie, so Aladdin takes it here. And then we have The Little Mermaid versus Pocahontas, both really good movies, both movies from the Disney Renaissance. Again, these are very good movies, but my heart's with The Little Mermaid, because, Broadway musicals. It's the Broadway musicals that hit it for me. The Little Mermaid has a Broadway musical, and that really hits home for me there. So that beats Pocahontas. And up next, we have Mulan versus Zootopia. Mulan was from the Disney Renaissance. Zootopia came out like a few years ago. And I have kind of a weird not an obsession, but I have a thing for animals. I really like animals, so Zootopia wins it for me here. And then to finish off the first part of the Disney bracket, the Disney side of the Disney Pixar bracket, we have Beauty and the Beast and The Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Beauty and the Beast, another great movie from the Disney Renaissance. Disney put out a lot of great movies during the Disney Renaissance. Again, I'll probably make a video on it later. I'll describe it at some point. But The Nightmare Before Christmas, it's very dark, funny, weird, and it's created by Tim Burton, who has a very weird, he makes a lot of weird movies, and I really like that about it. So if this was the live-action Beauty and the Beast we were talking about, then that probably would have won, but that's not the case, so The Nightmare Before Christmas wins it for me right now. Now, after that, we are in the semi-finals. I don't know what you would call that, but I'm going to call them the semi-finals. So, we have The Lion King versus Lilo and Stitch. Even though I grew up watching Lilo and Stitch as a kid, it really, it's not the best movie Disney has ever made, but The Lion King is probably up there with one of the greatest Disney movies to ever exist. So The Lion King wins it for me. Sorry, Stitch. Up next we have Big Hero 6 versus Moana. Again, I'm probably gonna choose Big Hero 6 on this one, just because it kind of introduced me into the superhero genre. So for me, and I've already said most things to know about those movies, so for me it's Big Hero 6 winning there. And then up next we have Aladdin versus The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid, these two are both Disney Renaissance movies, and they are both very good. But in the end, it's just Aladdin that takes the cake, with Robin Williams as the genie, and Friend Like Me. That's just, it's just a really good movie, really well put together. Robin Williams was actually not always going to be the genie. He almost turned down the role, but I might talk about that later too. Then after that, we have Zootopia versus The Nightmare Before Christmas. Zootopia, even though I have kind of a thing for animals, the dark and weirdness of The Nightmare Before Christmas, just overtakes Zootopia. And so The Nightmare Before Christmas wins that. So then we've moved on to the semifinals. Not the semi-semifinals, but the semifinals. And we have The Lion King versus Big Hero 6. Easy. Lion King beats Big Hero 6 by a mile. Like, if Lion King was a bat and Big Hero 6 was a ball, if you threw Big Hero 6 at the Lion King, it would hit it into space, never to be seen again. You couldn't find it, ever. So that's where I am with that one. The Lion King wins and moves into the finals. And then in the semifinals, on the next part of the bracket, we have Aladdin versus The Nightmare Before Christmas. Even though I really like the weird and darkness of The Nightmare Before Christmas, Aladdin is just overall a really great movie, and it has some really great music in it. So Aladdin wins versus The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, I told you earlier about how The Lion King is probably number 1 in the Disney Renaissance and Aladdin is number 2. So in the finals, I have pit The Lion King versus Aladdin in the finals. So I think you guys, from earlier in this video, I think you guys know who's gonna win, and it's obviously The Lion King, because that is just a really great movie. If you haven't seen it, you are living under a rock. Literally, like those bugs in The Lion King. You're living under a rock. And you should really go see it. Same with Aladdin. But The Lion King really hits home for me. So The Lion King is the winner in the Disney animation part of the Disney bracket. So now we are moving on to Pixar. I'm sorry this is very long, but it takes a while to do this because I'm pitting against my favorite movies against each other, and I have to explain why. So on to the Pixar part of the bracket. We have Up versus Brave. Brave, it was a good movie, but again, I'm not really into Disney princess movies, so if you pit it against Up will always win. Yeah. And then next we have Toy Story versus Toy Story 2. This is very interesting because they've pit an original movie with a sequel, and most sequels are worse than the original, such as Toy Story 2 was. A lot of people think that Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story, but I really don't think so. Because honestly, Toy Story could have just ended. The Toy Story franchise could have just ended at the end of Toy Story. There really was no need to go on. But for money purposes, they probably needed to bring in the big dough. So, that's why Toy Story wins for me. And then, up next, we have Coco versus Cars 2. Coco, I have just seen recently, and it is a really great movie. Again, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It is so good. It's a great movie. It's very dramatic and sad. So you should really go see it. And Cars 2, as much as it was a good movie, most people wish they could just forget that it ever existed, because it was really just so out of the ordinary. It was so out of the ordinary. It's just like James Bond spy stuff. Oof. It's just like, why does this exist again? Again, probably Pixar wanting to capitalize on good franchises. And then, after that, we have Toy Story 3 versus The Good Dinosaur. Now, my answer is very obvious here. It's Toy Story 3. Personally, I don't like The Good Dinosaur. I really don't like... I really like most movies I see, but The Good Dinosaur, I just did not like. I didn't think there was enough dialogue in it, because it was just like this, one dinosaur who can talk with going on a journey with a small little child who can't talk, and that was most of the movie. So there wasn't much dialogue, and I just didn't like it in general. So and Toy Story 3 was just a good movie in general. It was really great. It was so sad. When the toys were about to die. Oh, sorry. Again, spoiler, if the toys die, or the toys almost die, and it was really sad. That movie was really good. You should go see it. And up next, we have Ratatouille versus A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life was a good movie, but I personally do not like bugs. Bugs are really creepy and weird and disgusting. Really weird just to think about it right now. I can't bear it. It's surprising. It's more weird and disgusting than a rat. I know, cooking food. But Ratatouille is a really good movie. It's one of the best Pixar movies. In my mind. But yeah, Ratatouille beats A Bug's Life. That was pretty close, but I mean, Ratatouille really wins it there. And then up next we have Finding Nemo versus Inside Out. Now this is very tough because I love both of them. They were both really good movies, and I especially love Finding Nemo. It's a really great movie, and by the way, it means finding no one. Nemo is, or no one is Nemo in Latin. So there's a big theory that that Nemo is no one, and Marlin's just dealing with traumatic stress. As much as I love Finding Nemo, Inside Out wins, because I think that Inside Out is really interesting and is like a whole new concept. Like, there wasn't anything before that was like that. It was just really good. It was just a really good movie. So Inside Out beats Finding Nemo. And then up next, these two movies, this is probably the hardest part of the bracket for me. This is probably like the hardest part of the bracket for me, or the hardest bracket, because I love these two movies. These two movies are very dear to my heart. I love them right down to the core. Cars was a great movie. It really was. But Monsters, Inc. was just a really sweet movie. And it was just really good. Monsters, ooh, they're so scary, but really they aren't. They just roar at you and, oh, we're scary, and don't touch humans because they'll kill you, but really, they don't. And so Monsters, Inc. wins. This next movie these next two movies are very interesting, because, as I said earlier with Big Hero 6, it really introduced me to the superhero kind of genre. As much as Disney would like to call The Incredibles a superhero movie, I wouldn't really count them as superheroes, even though they are super, as said in the movie. But I really don't count them. So, and WALLE was just a really nice and sweet movie about some robots who fall in love. And it's really kind of a Romeo and Juliet, not really, but like, it's kind of a Romeo and Juliet kind of story, except there's some minor differences. One comes from space, one comes from Earth. Oof, can't be together. That doesn't actually happen though. So WALLE wins versus The Incredibles. Now this is when it gets really tough. As much as I love Up, Toy Story has a special and dear place in my heart, because first of all, it was the original Pixar. It was the first Pixar movie to ever exist. The first Pixar movie, and it was just a really good movie in general. So I personally think that Toy Story beats Up. Some people might get mad at this, but Up was a good movie, but I just think that Toy Story is a better movie. And then Coco versus Toy Story 3. This may be a new movie bias because I have just seen it, but Coco was just a really good movie. As much as I love Toy Story 3 and how sad it was, Coco was even better and more sad. It's a real tearjerker movie. So Coco wins and beats Toy Story 3, which is a really hard to beat movie. Now, Ratatouille versus Inside Out. Ratatouille really wins it for me, because as much as I love Inside Out and how good of a movie Inside Out is, Ratatouille, is just a really great movie, and I've always had a fascination with food. So, that's there in Ratatouille. As much as I love Inside Out, Ratatouille wins. And then we have Monsters Inc. versus not the Incredibles, sorry, WALLE. And Monsters Inc. wins. Monsters Inc. holds a very dear place in my heart. And, WALL-E was really good, but I mean, Monsters Inc. was better. That's what it comes down to in this bracket is, which movie is better, and Monsters Inc. was the better movie, for me. So then we move on to the semifinals. What we have in the first part of the semifinals is Toy Story versus Coco. And Toy Story wins. Coco was a really great movie, but Toy Story just holds it tried and true in my heart. Holds very dear. And on to the second part of Toy Story beats Coco. Now on to the second part of the semifinals. Ratatouille versus Monsters Inc. These are both very good movies. I love them both. But Monsters Inc. wins. Again, it's a thing of being much older movies and better movies. I mean, that's all it comes down to when you do something like this, is which movie do you think is a better movie? And I think that Monsters Inc. is a better movie. And so into the finals we go. This is very hard for me, because I love both Toy Story and Monsters Inc. They are both very good. But Toy Story wins. Toy Story is just the better movie. I know, it's just like the oldest movie Pixar has. The oldest movie they've made, Toy Story. How is that better than Monsters Inc.? But it really is. It's a great movie. And so that finishes it with the Pixar side. Toy Story is the finalist, or is the movie that won. Now, this one is really extremely hard for me. This is the Disney Pixar final. This is the Disney Pixar finals, and we have The Lion King versus Toy Story. Now, I'm really sad to say this, but The Lion King beats Toy Story. Not by a long shot, it's really close. But I mean, The Lion King is just such a good movie. It was really well put together. It's kind of, actually, it's pretty much Hamlet. The Lion King is, pretty much Hamlet. I couldn't describe you how, because I would need something in front of me to tell you. I don't know Hamlet very well, but I know that The Lion King is very much like Hamlet, and so, it beats Toy Story. I'm really sad to say that, but it really does beat Toy Story. And that is it for the Disney Pixar bracket. Tell me if you want to see more of this, because I really like doing this. And tell me what your favorite Disney Pixar movie in this list is. And leave a comment. Tell me what your favorite movie is. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. See ya.